What's up, everybody? Sujan Patel here. Today I'm going to talk to you about ABCs of SaaS growth. Lots of good nuggets here. I think there's going to be a lot of things you can take away. If anything, you should take away at least one thing, which is talk to your customers. Let's jump in. So I'm going to talk about the current landscape of SaaS, talk about customer experiences, the 3Bs, and all hands. So I'm going to go backwards with CBA instead of ABC because that's just how I roll. So let's jump into it. A little bit about me, why you should be listening. I'm the co-founder of Web Profits and the managing partner at Ramp Ventures. I run 7 SaaS companies. I've helped hundreds of SaaS companies, 137, I think, to be exact. And I love doing crazy stuff like jumping out of planes and racing cars. But I'm going to talk to you more about the product side and growth insteed of jumping out of planes. All right, so the current landscape, right? Look, I can go on about this, but really it's more competitive than ever. Lots and lots of, it's a little easier to enter the market, so a lot more options for customers, right? Paid marketing is more expensive than ever, right? It's getting crazy expensive. I've been spending 7 figures or more in aggregate PPC spend, and I can tell you over the last 6 years, the CAC has increased by 3-fold, which means it's 3 times more cost to get the same exact customer. And so that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money growth. And so I have to have a better LTV and whatnot. So a lot of times it's just out of reach for people. And lastly, again, customers have more demands. They because there's a lot more places, more products, more specialized, more industry specific, niche specific products, more competition. People have more demands, and they have more options, frankly. So it's harder than ever to grow a SaaS company. It's easier than ever than to start one, but it's harder than ever to actually grow it. So how do we do this? And how do we counter this? I think the first and foremost thing is the customer experience. It's what people feel, what the emotional connection, how they experience using your product, right? You can sell them with the best copy in the world, best conversion possible, but it's when they get in that hole in your product, when they get to use it, they remember how easy it was. Do they remember the marketing slogan? No, they remember like, okay, did this live up to the expectations? Did this was this actually easy to use? Is this free? Whatever. How do I get the thing out the door that I signed up for? So what this means, and to sell you one more time on why customer experience matters, is customer experience, a great customer experience, means word of mouth. This is a chart from one of our companies, Mailshake, and this shows customer word of mouth, friend or colleagues refer us more than any other channel that we use. I blurred out some of the channels, but really what you need to know is that word of mouth is our biggest channel. So what can we do to kind of facilitate that? It's really having a very big focus on customer experience. Like, how do people end up using your product? Are they happy with it? Are they just content? Like, what is the experience that people have? So let's talk about ways to kind of make your product and your customer experience better. So first and foremost, make your competitors' weaknesses your strengths. And what I mean by this is, like, if a competitor doesn't have a feature, or let's say, for Mailshake, our competitors were too complex or too hard to use, and they were expensive. This is not me making this up. This is me reviewing all of our competitors' reviews on G2 Crowd, Capterra, GetApp, and whatnot. And that's why we built our Mailshake product to be simple and easy to use, and also low cost compared to those guys. And so you can do the same thing. Look at reviews. Here's an example of Right Inbox, one of the companies we acquired. We looked through all of the reviews. I had my virtual assistant look through every single company's reviews and make a top features, the pros and cons list. And you can see cons, lack of customer service. Now, you would think, like, as a product-led company or a product-led growth topic, you would think, what does customer service have to do with this? Well, it has to do with everything, because a good customer service, or people complain about bad customer service, means they have a bad experience. So your product could be awesome, but they run into a bug or a hurdle, they get lost, and they don't know what to do. So what do? We made sure customer service was the top of the fold of the top of the list of what we invested in. And so again, we made our competitors' weaknesses our strengths. And some of these things were not really a product specific thing. It was just running a better SaaS business. So number two is optimize your first user experience. The first thing that user sees is how they end up remembering your product. So if they see a clunky flow or whatnot, they're less likely to come back. They're more likely to churn. And again, they're just not super happy. They're not satisfied. So here's an example. So this is Mailshake's in-app onboarding. Now we've adopted this and improved this over time, adjusted this probably dozens of times. We first started with no in-app onboarding. And again, that was a test to see if our product was easy enough to use without having to explain it. And over time, as we grew market share, as we grew past those early adopters, the amount of information, the education we needed to do or give was greater, because no longer were we getting those advanced experts. We were getting people who needed a little bit more handholding. So with this, we offer to book a one-on-one review, join a webinar, visit our Cold Email Academy. Here's a video, and the video isn't about how Mailshake works. No, it's not at all about Mailshake. It's actually how to send proper cold emails. It's the best practices, it's tips so people don't mess up. Why do we share tips instead of how to use our product? Well, because people didn't have a problem with going and setting up a campaign through Mailshake. What they had a problem with is, what should I write? Who should I email? Like, what should my subject line be? These are the questions people were asking us in customer support, in our webinars, and we wanted to make it dead simple that, one, we care, that we have 4 things and we're vested to make you successful. Number 2 is we made these the tips based off of the questions and friction points we've learned from our customers. So no matter what you do in our product, whether you're successful or you fail, we have done as much as we could to get you some help, whether it's one-on-one, one-on-many, education that you can read and watch on your own time, a quick video. So ultimately, this leads to multiple options, and we'll continue testing this to see, what options people want. But ultimately, the first thing you see after you pay is, we're here to help you. And we found our churn actually reduced just by offering these things, not by people actually implementing or taking us up on these offers, but just making it very, very easy and showing that we actually give a crap or care. People were more successful using our product. Number 3, your onboarding emails shouldn't be all about you. Now, this is the number one mistake I see people make when they're actually writing onboarding emails. And here's an example. This is a competitor of ours, Apollo. Apollo.io is very similar to Mailshake, and they are cold email outbound sales tool. So I just took a screenshot of all the last emails I've received from Apollo over the course of the last 6 months. Every week or every 2 weeks, I get an email and the same subject line. So first of all, bad subject lines. Don't use the same one every single time. That's going to get you in the spam. But number 2, don't make it all about you. Like, am I going to open the subject line, what's new with Apollo? After about 3 months, I'm going to forget what the heck Apollo is. And you're going to have to sell me on what the heck, on why I should open it. And frankly, if your drip email series is new features, you're missing out on the why you should use it. So here's an example. So we did the same thing. So I'm going to call myself out. Right inbox, when we first bought this company, all of our emails are all about how to use our awesome features, like how to set goals, how to add notes, how to send an email, how to schedule, all the awesome things. But what if people weren't ready to use our product? What if people need a little bit more selling, education to be a little bit more convincing to actually purchase? So we made a change. We changed it from how to use our product, how to use different features, to how to be more productive with your emails, and all educational information on how to actually, write emails to get replies. What's the best time of the day? When to automate your emails. A little bit of a couple features and little hidden things that you can get from Gmail. And this, again, making this educational resulted in a 23% increase in sales. So by not making it about us, we actually got our customers to open our emails and get more value. And by providing more value, we provided a better customer experience. So now on to the 3 B's. So be helpful. This is a very, very helpful, very, very small thing. It doesn't actually require too much. So going back to Mailshake, our customers' biggest problem isn't how to use our software. In fact, 50% of our customers churn because they were not successful in selling customers, leveraging our software. They weren't successful in closing more deals, enough deals to justify this. So they moved on from outbound sales as a strategy. So what can we do to make them more successful? Let's help them write better copy. So first and foremost, what we did was we manually reviewed people's campaigns, and we found out like subject lines that had less than 5 words, short emails. We found out like 15, 20 different things that made people more successful. And we created first, we had manual reviews so people can we can give one-to-one feedback, but we found ourselves saying the same things, the same 20, 30 things every time. So we baked this into our product. So this is an example of our email analyzer. It's free for every user. You don't have to be a customer. It's free for anybody, but Mailshake customers also got it in the app. But we created a micro tool completely outside of it. I'm not trying to sell Mailshake. What I'm trying to sell is being helpful as possible. So whether you're a customer, you're not a customer, anyone who's writing a cold email campaign can go to our email analyzer, write in their email copy, and we'll give you live feedback on the right-hand side based off your copy. So if your email starts with too much about yourself, we're going to flag that. If your subject line is too long, we're going to flag that. If your email is too long, we're going to flag that. If your copy, your paragraphs are too long, we're going to flag that. If you don't have a strong closing, we have too many call to actions, we're going to flag that. Now, these are things that, like, because I live and breathe cold emails, I know this like the back of my hand, but I shouldn't expect people just getting into the space to know this or customers to know this. And again, this is just one little way to be helpful. And by being more helpful, we were able to increase our LTV and reduce our churn. All right, second thing is build relationships. And this is really, really important. What I mean by this is not necessarily with just your customer, but I mean people in your space. So we are here. This is the sales tech landscape. We are this tiny little blip on the sales landscape radar. There are hundreds, if not thousands of companies in the space. All of these companies selling to the same type of customers, salespeople, are our partners. We're selling to them just the same. So you could do something like co-marketing, webinars. You can do guest posts on each other's sites. You can do deals where you email each other's lists. Ultimately, if you can partner with the hundreds of people that are not your competitors, you have together a bigger pool of people than you would on your own. So partner with your competitors or partner with people in the space. And we've even gone crazy and partnered with some competitors just to have like aggregate of like, here's the singular voice of outbound sales. Here's how you should do it, regardless of what tool you use. And that's led to some really interesting things. So I know what you're asking. How do I build a relationship with these people? Where do I go? Well, it starts with a freaking simple Google search. Google, whatever your industry is, tools. I did sales tools, and all the top blogs, these are my best friends. So I made it a point to go make friends with Sales Hacker, make friends with Intercom, make friends with Neil Patel, Infusionsoft, Close.io, so HubSpot. So I went and found who's the person in charge of the HubSpot blog. I ended up finding and running into the HubSpot Academy. Now I'm good friends with the HubSpot folks, and we do a lot of things on the education side. We're doing some co-marketing. We're doing a webinar coming up with Intercom. Again, talk to their salespeople, talk to their blogger person, Close.io. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if you don't have a brand? What if you're just getting started? Well, don't go with the biggest people in the space. Start small. Start with the people that are like easier to contact. So out of all of these people, Close.io probably has the smallest brand. So start with them and then work your way up to like Sales Hacker, then go into HubSpot. If you have some proof, all you need is 1 or 2 examples of proof. You can kind of keep working your way up the totem pole. Now, I did this exact same thing in 2014, 15, 16. I started small with smaller brands and then work my way up. Now I have access to a lot of these folks, bloggers. So if I have an idea of a co-marketing initiative, I can just email some folks. So fast forward, 3-4 years of ongoing effort to build relationships. Now I have a lot of these guys at my fingertips, and it makes getting a new idea very, very easy out the door. All right. Last thing is brand. So what does brand mean? Let's talk about brand because it's really easy to define. It's not as complex as people make it out to be. And if you're in marketing, if you're in product, you're in growth, you're a SaaS founder, you need to worry about building a brand because, again, there are hundreds of different options. And what separates you from the others? It's a brand. It's how you come off. Before the brand is something people say, is what people say about you when you're not there. And how to get how to have a bigger brand. One, focus on an excellent customer experience, right? If you listen to the first 5 minutes of my presentation, you would know customer experience is the biggest thing, because if you're known for having an awesome customer experience, you're going to get that word of mouth, and that word of mouth is going to build your brand. Number two, create content and tools that solve your customers' problems. Again, not content about you, not content about your brand, not content about your product, content about your customers and their problems. If you can help solve your customers' problems, you are then the brand that solves your customers' problems. And so guess what happens when somebody's like, oh, I need a tool about outbound sales. They think about Mailshake because we've solved a lot of people's problems. We've educated the market. And lastly, build relationships. So same thing I mentioned before, building relationship with the key people helps you elevate your brand. So Mailshake, tiny little software company in Austin, Texas. HubSpot, big public company. Intercom, $100 million company. If we partner with those folks, guess what? Our brand is lifted. And for what's the value for those guys partnering with us? Well, one, we're creating educational content. So people want to share the deep expertise, because when you get larger as a brand, you get further away from your customer, and you want people like experts like us, because we've proven it through our content, to share content and educate your customer base. So it's a win-win situation for the big guys as well as us. All right, and let's talk about the last part of this. All hands on deck. What does that mean? It means everyone on the team should be talking to customers. This is an example from our CTO, Colin Matthews at Mailshake, talking to customers. So he likes to be on Twitter. He's constantly scavenging around when people tweet at him or when they talk about Mailshake. We've got a few things. We use Brand24 to monitor our kind of brand mentions. And anytime someone mentions us, he's kind of like pinging them and like, hey, what's going on? Like, he's just engaging. And again, you get credit for just engaging. And we do this every single week. So Colin, our CTO, even our CFO, he's not necessarily talking to customers, but what he's doing is reviewing this. So when we talk to customers, we post this on Slack. And so he gets secondhand information. I listen to all of our sales demos from the week. I listen to them, about like 4 or 5 of them every Friday. I spend an hour or two every Friday listening to them all on 2x or 3x. Of course, not 1x, because that's a lot of videos or content to consume. And then every Wednesday, Thursday, I actually talk to 1 or 2 customers. And again, this is not a big deal. It's not very hard to do. I want to just get in the mindset of my customers. And again, 30 minutes a week, I think everyone can spare. If I told you that 30 minutes is going to give you context on what you should build next and get you closer to that customer and maybe potentially reduce your churn rate, I guarantee you would spend that 30 minutes talking to customers. Number 2 is send helpful articles at the end of each customer support ticket. So my customer support team has a spreadsheet of content they should share based off the persona. So if they're talking to a salesperson, if they're talking to a PR person, at the end of the support ticket, they're like, hey, by the way, I think you might find this article helpful. And they just link to it. Again, education. And again, if you think about customer support, most people email in customer support when they have a problem. So if you can end that frown, if you end that bad kind of experience with a happy note of education, or proactively communicating and helping customers, the customers have a better experience, and they end with something helpful instead of okay, my bug is fixed or whatever. Again, these are just 2 things you can do. So the next thing is activity-based sales and support. So what I mean by this is, instead of your salespeople hounding every single prospect, why not email the people that are most active with your product? Why not email the people that have maybe added a couple more seats, or they're using the top features of the most active user, or they're logging in every day, or they have the best or worst results? Why not help them? Our success team on Mailshake, if you get lower than a 20% open rate on your emails, our success team is immediately notified and they proactively reach out. A customer support team, if they've, we use full story. So if they've witnessed rage clicks, which means like they're clicking on something and it's not doing what they want, that's something that can be added to our Slack, and our customer support team can engage. But again, it's doing this based off of activities instead of dollar amounts or time based. So, which is a lot of, I think, the easier things you can do. So that's it, guys. You can download the slides at bit.ly / I'm sassy. If you have any questions, tweet at me at Sujan Patel. And yeah, definitely implement some of these things. Again, if you could take away one thing, it's building relationship. If you take away two things, it's focusing on a great customer experience and building relationships with your people in the space, selling to your same audience. All right. Take care, guys.